Hello everybody, this is Scrappy Doo Sue. I'm here today to do episode 4 of the hashtag 2021 TCTC Facebook challenge that Dee Dee Farago has instigated. And today the pockets that I'm going to do has been inspired by a lady called Rebecca on Pinterest. That's where it was originally found, and I'm going to do a couple today in different size papers. I did do one exactly in the paper that size paper that Dee Dee Farago did. Unfortunately, I made a complete error and I stuck down this whole piece, which the idea is that it should move up and down. So this goes up and down this. So I completely messed that up. So I've had to start again. Right. So the first thing we do is this paper that I'm using now. And it is not quite thick cardstock. It's just right really. And this is 7. So the first piece is 7 inches long by 3 inches wide. And the second piece that you need is 7 inches long by 2 inches wide. Now you can do this any size you want, providing it fits your journal that you're making or whatever you're going to use it in. Then you need a piece that I've done this piece 1.5 inches square, and then you need another piece, and this is 1 inch square to go on the top, and you will need a piece of ribbon like so, and you will also need a craft knife. Right, so let's get started. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a thumb hole. So I'm going to do it by holding the 2 pieces of card together, and I'm going to eyeball it. So by holding these 2 pieces together, I'm ensuring that the thumb hole is going to be the same for both. Otherwise it's difficult to try and match them up if you're doing them separately. So that's the first thing. Second thing we're going to do is round the corners. Now you don't have to round the corners if you don't want to. I quite like corners rounded. Now there's a problem with that one, because this corner rounder won't round a corner if it thinks the paper is not completely even. Now I thought it was because I cut it on the guillotine, but sometimes I think the paper's not quite right. Obviously, you know, poor workman always blames his tools, doesn't he? So anyway, I'm going to hold those 2 pieces together. So I've pushed the pocket back to the back edge now, and I'm going to round these corners together again, so they're all matching like so. I'll just get rid of the pieces because my corner rounder likes to spit them out instead of holding them in. Right, okay, so I'm going to distress the edges with my vintage photo because of the white parts of the card. I'll just quickly do that now, like so. Do the same with this one. All the way round. Like so, paying particular attention to your thumb holes so they stand out. Okay, right. Now, because of my width of mine, I could, depending on the size journal I wanted to put it in, you can either have them this way up, in which case you'd make sure that the paper was up the right way, but I'm not bothered about that because I'm having mine lengthways like that. That's how I'm going to have mine when I do use it in a journal. So okay, the next thing we need to do is to glue down these two pieces. So let's just hope that, always hold the thumb hole side of your paper when you're gluing. That way you don't make any mistakes and glue down the wrong edge. And I have done that before myself. And corner to corner is always a good way of making sure that they're edge to edge, like so. Okay, right, so that's that. So you can obviously see that you have got, let's find my bone folder. So you're going to have your pocket here, and you've got a pocket here. If you put it in your folder, your journal, and glue it down 3 sides. Oh, it's like, I'm like Mr. Magoo when it comes to, and I have got my glasses on. Oh, it doesn't want to go in. Right, take half an hour just to cap the glue. So that's that part done. Now this is where you need something soft to rest on. That doesn't matter if it gets ruined. So I'm just using this glue book. And this is where you're going to use your craft knife. So first of all, you want to glue the smaller square onto the bigger square. I knew I didn't need to cap that glue straight away, but hey ho, I did it. Don't know if anyone else does that. It takes ages to cap the glue and then straight away realises they need it again. So I'm going to put my butterfly that way round because it's going to be on its side in the journal. So just try and make sure that you've got that evenly glued down like so. Then you want to take your knife and you're going to make a cut about 1/4 of an inch from the top of that 1 inch square down to about 1/4 of an inch above the bottom of that 1 inch square on the left hand side, and you're going to flip it round so the right hand side is on the left hand side, and you're going to repeat that exercise, cutting down just a fraction above and below the line there. And then you just want to make sure that you have actually cut through this, because the slit is going to be very important. So you can see that's cut through, and that this one just needs a bit more pressure, which is why it's a good idea not to do this on a surface that you don't want cut marks on. I'm going to put the knife away now. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of ribbon, and it needs to be the length from top to bottom of your pocket, and you're going to thread the ribbon through the slits. And then once again I've made a mistake, because I wanted my butterfly to look that way, but now the slits are up that way. It's going to have to be up. It's going to have to look upwards, but that's okay. I'm threading through underneath and out the other side, like so. Like so. And then put that back. I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to see where I want my ribbon to be. So I think because of my thumb hole, I kind of want it to be roughly there. So having said that, I am going to then take my 3-in-1 beacon glue, and I'm going to glue the top of the pocket and stick my ribbon down. Just hold that down for a second while it takes. and then we're going to make sure that this is still on the page. So one good thing about the Fabri-Tac or Beacon glue is that you can actually, you do have some wiggle time with it, and then when you're happy with that, you hold that middle piece down, and then we're going to glue the bottom piece of ribbon down. So it's just the top and the bottom edge of the ribbon that is going to be glued like so. Okay, like that. And then we need to trim off our edges. Take your fabric scissors and you're going to trim off your ribbon like so. And hey presto, we have a lovely, a very cute double pocket with a slider that goes up and down. You can have it wherever you want. Isn't that cute? I like that, I really do. So thanks to Rebecca on Pinterest for that idea. And I guess you could make these shapes, these pieces, any shape you want. You could have an oval with a smaller oval, or you could have a circle with a smaller circle. And that's how that works. And if you wanted to thread your ribbon across the top, then you could. So that's something. You're just going to put that to one side, and then I've made some smaller pieces to make a different size one. And the second piece I've made is, the larger piece is 4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. The second piece is 3 inches by 3 3/4 inches. It fits on like that. And then I have left the squares as the original size just to see how different that looks. So the bigger square is actually 2 inches and the smaller square is 1.5 inches. With this one, because I made it narrower across here, I thought I'd make the squares smaller relative, you know, to the size of that piece. Right, and then you need some ribbon again to go from top to bottom. So let's get going. So the first thing we did was is we made our thumb hole. So just find that and make sure your pieces are together. And I'm only going to make a small thumb hole this time. I don't want to be too big, and I'm just going to eyeball where the center is on this, like so. And this always shoots the pieces straight into my face. Then we're going to take the corner rounder, and this time I'm just going to use a 7mm one because it's a smaller piece, and I'm going to move that down to the back, make sure they're together. And you could, you know, round the corners separately. You don't have to have the pieces together like me. I just find it easier, really. So that's that. So there we have it. And then we are going to get rid of the mess, and we're going to ink. So I'm using Vintage Photo. I should probably guess by now it's my go-to one that I like the most at the moment. I don't have that many actually. I do have a lot of coloured inks for ink pads that I use for stenciling, but I don't have a lot of the Tim Holtz Distress ink pads at the moment. I'm kind of trying not to stockpile too much really, because I'm only a beginner. I don't want to go mad buying all sorts of things and then find that, you know, I don't know what to do with them really. And also I don't have the space. I have a spare room that's craft room, home office and guest room if ever we are allowed to have anybody around again. One day in the future maybe. Right, with that done, we're going to glue the top piece on, top pocket onto the second pocket. So we're going to just put a thin bead of glue around the edge. As you can see, I have quite shaky hands for some reason, and I don't think you realise till you try and do something intricate like this. Oh, we're not going to bother with that at the moment. So we're going to hope that it won't dry up before we actually have a chance to glue the next piece. It'll take me ages to put the pin back, then I'll have to take it out again. So just make sure that your pockets are lined up like so, quite in that corner. Right, that's it. So I press down. Okay, so then we're not going to glue that on. We're going to take the glue book to find our knife. So we are going to glue the small square onto the big square, aren't we? Yes, that's why I kept the glue open. Hope you haven't all gone to sleep by now. Again, I'm going to just place that in the centre of that bigger square and just make sure that's as straight as possible. Okay, like so. Let's put a bit more glue there. I either have too much glue or I don't have enough. Choose the bone folder to give that a press down. Right, now pin, glue. Right, that didn't take too long that time. Right, next thing, keep the glue book out. Need your knife again, and you're going to make a slit, and you're going to make it about 1/4 of an inch from the top at the side of that small square to just above the bottom. Again, about 1/4 of an inch. Just give it a good score to make sure that it's actually open. And the same on this side. Be very careful of your fingers when you're using these knives. They are deadly. So I think I just make it like that. Okay, so that's fine. Put the cap back on that. Get rid of it. Don't like knives. Okay, let's see what we can do with this. So we're now going to thread this. I only cut off a small piece of ribbon, more or less the right fit, and well, it's seam binding, I think, rather than ribbon. I quite like it, seam binding. I find it's quite sturdy. So this one is generous enough in width for me to be able to centre it really. So I'm going to have it about there, I think. Yeah, I think that's okay. So we're going to take our beacon glue and we're going to glue the bottom piece down there. Doesn't matter if you want to glue the ribbon or the piece, because it's whatever's easier for you really. And then you have to make sure that, sorry if I had my head in the way, I'm still getting used to camera angles with this camera, and today I've got it more behind me, which I think works better. Otherwise I think you end up seeing too much of me. Right, I think that's enough of that. We don't want too much because it comes through these ribbons and seam bindings. So Obviously I've made the slit from there to there on each side. You can make it small if you want. It's entirely up to you. So we're just going to trim this off there and there, like so. On those pieces I will put in my scrap jar for later on. And there we have it. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. Then when you decorate them, when you use them in a journal, on a page, you can put something on top there, something nice that's relevant to the project you're making. So that's very nice, isn't it? And actually, if you wanted to, you could round the corners of these squares. I think that would be very nice, actually. Yeah, so that's it for today. Those are the 2 examples I've made, and I think they're very good. So thank you very much for watching. If you like this, please subscribe. I've got 8 subscribers at the moment, and I'm trying to build up my subscriber list. It would be lovely to have more subscribers, and please comment and like this video if you do like it. But if you don't, comment and say you don't and why. It would help me a lot. Anyway, keep safe and keep well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.